What's up, my YouTube family? I'm back at you with another video. This is your favorite broker and host, Wayne Chappelle of the Wayne Chappelle YouTube channel. And like I always say, this channel has my name on it, but it's not about me, it's about you guys. I'm just here providing a conduit so that we can all come together as a community to solve the real life struggles and challenges we have in today's real estate market. And this leads to the topic of this video, which I'm calling "The Struggle is Real." And I'm about to get into that in a second, but let me do a little bit of housekeeping, so for those who don't know me, so I can introduce myself to them. So my name is Wayne Chappelle. I am a licensed real estate broker based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a multi-state broker, being that I have a real estate broker license in 4 states, those being North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. So those 4 states throughout the Southeast. I've been in the real estate business for over 13 years. I have over 250 million, that's a $250 million in real estate sales. Since I've been in the business, I have over 1,000 successful transactions closed. And the reason I'm here on YouTube, number one is to get myself out there, but number two, to provide value, right? And I mentioned this in previous videos. I'm always going to be in some form of production, meaning that involved in, doing sales and being a producer in that respect. But I'm shifting my focus more internally towards the real estate market itself, right? So when I say that, I mean, shifting my focus on clients and customers, who are looking to buy or sell real estate, shifting my focus to internally being the actual real estate professionals in the industry, who are struggling, who need help in, being successful in this industry and having a successful business. So that's where my focus and shift is shifting to, being able to provide value in that regard. So with that being said, and I always like to give homage to my team, because my team is the one that put me in this position, and I'm truly grateful and humbled that I have an amazing team. Like I said before, this is not 1992, but I do refer to my team as a dream team, because collectively we're killing it out there. So hats off to my team. I truly appreciate them, and they're the reason that I'm this successful to this point in my real estate career, especially over the past 18 months to 2 years. So with that being said, I just want to jump right into this. And today I'm just going to tell you, it's been a hell of a day. And excuse me. Like I said, what you see is what you get in my videos. They're not edited. This is just raw. I'm just coming at you raw, baby. This is what it is. I hit record on my phone and I start recording. And the other day I thought I hit record on my phone and I didn't, and I was just talking to myself. Thought I was recording, but there was nothing happening. And I basically talked to myself for about 15-20 minutes and didn't capture the video. But that's a whole nother story. But that's part of that's my YouTube struggle is real. I'll save that maybe for another video. But I'm talking about the struggle is real in real estate. So that's the name of the topic of this video. The struggle is real. And for me, and I'm sure a lot of you others that have been in the business, especially for any significant amount of time, have dealt with fall throughs, fallouts, whatever you want to call them, transactions that are just not successful and don't close, right? I had 3 of those today. Now granted, I had 2 others that were successful that closed today, but I had 3 transactions today that did not close, and that just messed my whole day up. And one of them, just real briefly to go over it, one of them was a contingent sale. If you don't know what a contingent sale is, that's when and I'm representing the seller, and all of these I'm representing the seller on the transaction. But on the buyer's side, you may have a buyer who has to sell a home before they buy a home. We call that a contingent sale, right? So you go under a contract knowing that, or go into contract knowing that that buyer has to sell, their current property in order to purchase the property from you if you're representing the seller, as it is in my case, right? So one of my fall throughs or fallouts, whatever you want to call it, I call it fall through. So one of my fall throughs had to do with the continued sale today, being that the buyer that I'm the listing agent, and I'm on the seller side representing the seller, and the buyer's being represented by their own agent, by the buyer's agent. I get the phone call, that this is not going to go through it, and oh my God, this really bothers me when agents wait to the last minute. Whether it's their fault, whether it's intentional or unintentional. Sometimes it's the buyer, sometimes it's just an unfortunate circumstance. But in this case, it bothers me because it was the actual agent, a real estate professional that held on to this information, to the day of closing, to the 11th hour. You're going to come at me, when we're all expecting to close, my seller's expecting to close. They're ready to get this home sold, and you come to me, a couple hours before closing to say that your buyer cannot close on this transaction because their contingent sale failed a couple days ago, and that sale didn't close. And I don't want to go into a rant on this, but oh my God, I'm starting to feel myself get worked up. But I really hate it when, and I hate to say hate, but I really dislike when agents hold things to the last minute, knowing that, okay, maybe this can be resolved, maybe it can't be resolved, but don't wait to the damn last minute or the 11th hour to tell somebody, especially the other side, the agent on the other side of the transaction, being me in this case, that, hey, my buyer can't close because their property that they were selling, the buyer on that one fell through, and now we can't close on your deal because it's a contingent sale. Messed up my day. My seller was highly pissed off. I was pissed off, being the fact that this information could have been discovered or at least presented several days ago prior to getting to the closing today. And essentially we didn't even make it to the closing table because hours before, this information was basically disclosed to everybody that this wasn't going down, and it may not even go down. And my seller is very upset and basically says that, what, I'm just, I'm done with it. I'm not even going to work with you on trying to find a solution to this, because now you're keeping my property hostage, trying to get this deal done that possibly can't get done. And my seller's just ready to go back to the market and find another buyer. But that's a whole nother story. But that's one of the issues that I had today. The other being, I had another fallout today, fall through, in regards to financing, which was also on the buyer's side, right? So the buyer's financing fell through due to a tax issue, and this one is not really the agent's fault, right? This is solely on the buyer, in my opinion, right? Because the agent was unaware of this. They were notified at the last minute by the lender, and the buyer was withholding information that came up last minute in the underwriting process, that they had a tax issue that now got discovered, and they're not going to be able to close because now they got to deal with the IRS and all of that and get that resolved before they can even come back to the table to deal with the lender and underwriting to even get this deal closed. So that's another seller that I'm representing, that even though that seller is just like, okay, they're an entity, so they don't have that much emotion involved. They're just like, okay, it is what it is. Let's go back to market. Let's run these numbers. Let's see, what kind of money we're losing, because they have holding costs and things like that, holding that property as an investor, taxes and bills and such like that they have to pay now that they have to go back to the market and find another buyer. So two of those in that regard, right? Where one was the agent, clearly the agent's fault because their buyer, and the agent that was on the other end notified that agent that, hey, this contingent sale is falling through, and that agent failed to notify all the parties that's involved. And that's a whole nother thing I'll get into about ethical and being responsible in a real estate transaction to all parties that's involved. And with time being of the essence, that was clearly overlooked in that case. And in this case, it was the buyer's fault. The buyer knew that they had a tax issue and didn't inform the lender, number one, and inform, their buyer's agent, number two, that should have been aware of the situation, so they knew what they were dealing with from the beginning. And the last one that was a fall through today had to do with vandalism, right? And this is on my side of the house. This is in my backyard, representing a seller, being another investor. They don't live in the property, so they were unaware that the vandalism had even taken place until the final walkthrough was done this morning. So the buyer and buyer's agent went out there to do the final walkthrough, and immediately called me and said, "Hey, we got a problem. The HVAC has been, basically removed from the property. They totally destroyed the HVAC, which is, the heating and ventilation and AC unit, right? We call it the HVAC unit, which is the air conditioning unit, or the condenser, that's located outside of the property. But also, they managed to get inside the property and start, pulling copper and taking those things out to, to scrap the copper and make some money off of that. So vandals actually went in, stole components out of the compressor that was outside the property, alongside the house, and then, gained entry, actually broke into the property and started pulling the copper out of the walls. I mean, cutting up sheetrock and, pulling copper out of the bare walls. So we got a major issue there, right? And that's on my side. That's in my camp, and I have to deal with that, because now the buyer is very upset. Of course, they're understandable, because it's outside of everybody's control. Nobody knew that this property was going to get vandalized the day before closing. But these things like this happen. That's why I say the struggle is real. So in that regard, I had to get my vendors and contractors and everybody out there to work with the seller to get these things fixed, so that we can eventually get back to closing. Now, this is still going to be a successful closing, because we've already taken action on that. We already have, the HVAC vendor out there doing work. We got, sheetrock guys that are going to be going in there, and the painters going back in and, patching and getting all that stuff up to where it's going to look like nothing has ever happened inside this property once they're done, and, we can finally get that closed. But we're looking at, pushing this out, 7 to 10 days, to get this done. So it's very unfortunate that this has happened, but these are the things that happen, in real estate that you got to deal with. That's why the subject of this video is the struggle is real. And I'm just giving you, real life examples of what's going on. And I tried to bring these to you. I had a whole nother topic for this video today, but being that, today just, went sideways on me real quick. And like I said, I had 5 closings scheduled for today. 2 of them were successful. 3 of them fell through, but, one is a save, obviously, because we're, already started the process of getting the property restored and repaired and back to, where it can be sold in the condition that, the buyer will be happy. So with that being said, the other 2, the buyer that has a tax issue, honestly, I told the agent, I said, we're just going to terminate contract and not, move forward, because the buyer can't fulfill their end of the, of the contract. So, and on the other one, this is the thing about former relationships, because real estate industry is small, right? And even though it's big, there's millions of us real estate agents out there. But the real estate industry is small in regards to the market that you're working. I work across multiple markets in multiple states. So I run into the same agents on deals, a lot of the time. So once you have a deal go south with an agent that clearly was their fault why this deal fell through, or didn't provide, information in a timely manner, you think twice about getting back into bed with that agent or getting back into another deal with them in the future. And obviously, I'm not going to steer doing business with anybody, but, my eyebrow will be raised, like the Rock. I can't even do that with my eyebrow raised like he does, when he used to do his wrestling and stuff like that. But I would clearly have an eyebrow raised if this agent comes back across my path in regards to doing another transaction with me, because I'm going to be thinking back to the prior transaction that we had today that fell through because they didn't, provide information. They weren't really being ethical. They were trying to withhold this information, which is truly unfortunate because it's damaging for my seller who wanted to close. They're highly upset now that they, got to go back to the market. Nobody's going to sit here and wait on that seller to, get their contingent sale, their property sold to, wonder whenever, my seller's going to get their property sold on this end. So we're just going to go back to market and find another buyer that hopefully is not another contingent sale buyer that, we run across the same, circumstance in the future. So with that being said, just to wrap up the topic, the struggle is real. Let me know about your struggles out there. What are your real estate struggles? I spent a majority of this time in this video talking about my struggles and just kind of, I guess, venting. This is more therapy for me, I guess, than it is for you guys. But I do want your feedback below. Give me your comments below. Let me know, the struggle is real, I'm sure, with you as well. I'm sure you guys have stories and comments, so please leave those down below. Share those with the community. If you're watching my video up to this point, I truly feel blessed to have you listen to me bump my gums up to this point. And, as always, I invite you to like this video, to subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, provide your feedback and comments below, because that's how I tailor this channel and, build this channel up to what you guys want to see. So I know this video went a little bit longer than I usually do. So I'm going to end it here. And as always, I'm going to tell you guys to go out there and have a blessed day and go out there and make it happen. And I'll see you guys on the next video.